Okay, we are live. Start. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. Welcome to, I think, episode 49. And we're going to call this Tom's Choice because Tom has a whole bunch of stuff to talk about, and we're just going to spin the wheel and see whatever lands. So, Tom, what's up?
Got green. Green. I don't know what topic that relates to, but it landed on green.
I don't know. Isn't Trivial Pursuit, they have something green as like pop culture?
It might be. What on our list fits with pop culture? So, Derbycon. Good God. That was fun. We talked last time about hacker conventions, their place in society, why they're a good thing. Then I got the plague and, kind of was dying for a week. I'm better now. Learned lots of cool stuff, mostly centered towards businesses, keeping business data safe, proprietary information, all that good stuff. But there were some tidbits for your average user, and I think that's what we're going to go over today. So we've got, some old ground to tread. We've got some new ground to tread. First up, I guess we should probably talk just a little bit because we've beaten this to death before in the past. We should talk a little bit about passwords and where passwords are today and where they're going in the future.
Okay. I mean, passwords we know are fundamentally flawed.
Yeah, that has not changed.
And we can't there's no good password. There's nothing we're going to be able to do.
Yeah. So, we need a technology other than passwords. We need either something like Squirrel or the FIDO Alliance to come in and tell us exactly how to replace a password. But until then, we need to make passwords as effective as humanly possible. Most hackers agree, according to the people at Derbycon that I talked to. These short, really complex, I use every single symbol on the keyboard sort of passwords that are 8 characters long. That's not going to help you at all. No, you want passphrases. You want something that's 20 characters or above. And really, when you get to that length, the complexity doesn't matter too much. It helps. Every little bit helps. But make that thing giant. And that's why we tell you, use a password manager.
I mean, we talk about that, and that's our policy. But I think we really need to talk about how it doesn't matter how strong it is. It could be, and it'll take years for them to break. But I have a feeling that just taking better precautions on the internet and not going into the deep web is way more preventative than a 60-character password.
By far. So the number. I was going to say probably the number 2 or 3 rules. We'll get to rule number 1 here in a bit. But, rule number 2, keep your operating system up to date. When apps or your phone company or Microsoft comes out and they say, hey, dude, there's updates available, you're going to have to click some buttons and probably restart. It's a pain. I know it's a pain. I do this all the time. Just update. It doesn't really take that long, especially if you keep up with them. 1 or 2 updates every couple days doesn't take as long as 30 if you do it once every 2 weeks. So it's not too big of a deal if you keep up with it. And the next thing is use a better browser. I know most of our parents, grandparents, etc. are on Internet Explorer. We move to Chrome, move to Firefox. The security model is so much better, and it's harder to exploit. It really is. Firefox and Chrome have both had attacks, put on them. They're not perfect by any means, but they are better. And it's just the little bit of betterness that can make all the difference in the world.
I want to add to that. There are certain websites that are IE only. Take it upon yourself as a security expert or enthusiast or whatever you want to call yourself. Email the webmaster. And not that it's going to do anything, but you never know. You may get a response. And the biggest one I can think of is the National Association of Realtors. Their multiple listing service, and I deal with this daily, does not allow anything other than IE. And to reduce all cookies and to do everything, just reduce everything down to 0. And they tell you, well, put us in your trusted sites and do this. And I keep on emailing them, and I keep on saying, hey, nobody's going to do that. They're just going to do whatever you tell them. You're going to reduce it to 0, and then they're going to get these viruses. And the response is, we don't care.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you encounter companies like that sometimes. On the flip side, to tell a more positive tale, I actually reported a kind of a security flaw, a design flaw in a phone company, a common phone company's website. And I emailed him and said, hey, look, there's an issue here. These are the things that are wrong. Here's how I know this, and here's how to fix it. And I was able to tell them that, how to fix it because I had designed stuff like this before and fixed it later. And the guy emailed me back. He said, oh, wow, this is a lot of really great information. I sent a lot of, technical links and documentation. He said, okay, well, it'll take us, a couple months to get everything changed over in our systems because this was not a small company. But, thank you for reporting it because, frankly, we had no idea. We don't really have an operational security team on staff. We just do what people tell us that's best practice. And lo and behold, 4 weeks later, they totally revamped their systems, changed the way they were implementing this thing, and it's actually way more secure today than it was before. All because I just sent one email with a couple links in it that says, hey, this is a better way of doing that. So, if you want, if you've got the time, when you see something insecure, when you see something that could be better, fire off an email and be nice about it. I mean, webmasters, especially the guys at this phone company, they were crazy busy. It's not like they sit around all day twiddling their thumbs. They actually have stuff to do.
It's one of the, like we keep on saying, it's one of those things. If you're vigilant, you tell somebody, people will listen. I mean, because what they're going to do is they're just going to tell your idea, bring it to their boss, and say, hey, we should do this. And if they're going to get credit, it's going to get implemented. But again, telling people to change your passwords and just to be vigilant is always the right answer.
Yeah. So, we went over passwords at Derbycon. That was a big thing. We went over, password policy and how forcing password changes on people doesn't actually help security. It actually hurts security, which has been kind of a semi-controversial mantra in the security community. A lot of agencies and a lot of government compliance requires forced password changes every so often. We can see now through experimentation, through the evidence presented, that forcing users to change passwords makes them use bad passwords. Really, really bad passwords. Passwords that I would never use. I would never think of using in my life, but people do because it makes it easy to remember instead of choosing the one good password and sticking with it. So if you work for a company with a password policy and you can email IT, you can email the security team and say, hey, here's some literature, here's what the security community is saying, try to get that thing changed. And it might be that you're not able to. It might be that, hey, look, we've got to comply with this long list of government regulations, and that'll never fly unless we change the entire government. I understand that, but at least you tried, right?
And if you said that we're trying and you got hacked and you did your best to disclose it and everything else, I don't think too many people would have a problem with it. But when you hear about, for example, Home Depot, people said, there's issues, and everyone said, no, don't worry about it. Now somebody's going to lose their job. So, what's next?
It's all, cover yourself thing and make sure that you've got indemnifying paperwork on your side before something bad happens. Next, let's talk about the Internet of Things. So, I don't know about you, but my refrigerator doesn't have Wi-Fi yet.
Have you seen, and I know you don't watch that much TV, there's a Cisco commercial that talks about something with a storm. So this energy plant got a whole bunch of wind energy because of a storm and rain energy and everything else, which caused like a domino effect of internet-connected devices. But at the end, they were able to lower the person's electric bill because the cost to manufacture went down, and they were able to raise the heat before the power went out and watch some TV before the power went out before the storm, and the kid was happy.
That's pretty rad. I will have to look up that commercial. Now, that said, the Internet of Things, which I think is a really stupid phrase. I really hate that. But, you look at something that fits into that category. So you look at the Nest thermostat. It has actively saved me money by having an Internet-enabled thermostat. That's pretty rad. But we have to make sure these things are secure. Now, Nest, and there have been stories out there, the Nest is actually really, really secure. It's pretty hardened. It's pretty nice. For an attacker to actually do anything to your Nest, he actually has to, well, we'll see what happens with shell shock. But for an attacker to actually get into your Nest, he's got to pull stuff off and hook up wires and jumpers to it. And by that time, the hacker's inside your house. I don't think he cares about your thermostat. But at Derbycon, we were talking about IP cameras and toasters with Wi-Fi and all these things that you don't really think about as attack vectors because, who's going to hack a toaster, seriously? But what if that toaster could help pull off a denial of service attack? What if that toaster could be used to send spam? There is actually some proof of concept malware out there that infects IP cameras and turns them into spam bots. It sends out spam from a camera. That's pretty cool. At the same time, it's kind of scary because a lot of these cameras are public facing on the internet. They're not behind a router or firewall or any other type of control. So they're just out there in the wild. So we talked about that a little bit. That was pretty cool. We also talked about the idea of obtaining data, pilfering data, without actually breaking into systems, without actually hacking anything. You have to watch where your data goes, especially cell phones, especially taking pictures. You have to, I know Google likes to do auto-upload. I think Facebook likes to do auto-upload. I know Dropbox loves auto-upload. Those tend to be pretty locked down, pretty private, pretty secure. Do you have a PhotoBucket account? Do you have a PhotoBucket app? Have you enabled auto-upload on the PhotoBucket app? If you have, check those privacy settings. More often than not, it'll be set to default public. So every picture you take on your phone goes to public PhotoBucket. And it's not like someone has to find it out either. You just go to the most recent and keep hitting refresh, and you'll just see all kinds of pictures, all kinds of stuff. Now, be careful. Some of them, these are stuff that's on, pictures that are being taken by people. So it might not be totally work appropriate. But, there are debit cards on there, bank statements, a lot of stuff that people probably wouldn't upload if they were actually thinking about it. So watch where your data goes. It's really easy to get an insane amount of data on people just by accident.
Tom, say the last thing. Watch where your data goes because...
watch where your data goes because you could be giving people a lot of information about yourself purely by accident.
And we keep on saying that. Before you try the new service, whatever it is, whether that be Elo or PhotoBucket, or not PhotoBucket, but any new service that comes down the pike, be aware that they're trying to gain the user base. So their security on their backend, it may be bulletproof, but you're probably just hitting agree just to try out the service. And one of the things you could be agreeing to is auto-upload of photos or sending your contact list, something. You may be okay with it, but something that you should just be aware of.
Yeah, or it might be default public. It might just be checked by default. Hey, don't protect any of these. Don't protect them so I can easily link to them. Well, then for some reason when you take a picture of your debit card, it gets uploaded to PhotoBucket, and now everyone has your debit card.
So when you want to when you have to update your credit card in iTunes and it says your credit card expired, and you take a picture of it, that's what's basically going on.
Yeah.
Which is a perfect example.
Yeah. So be careful. Watch where your data is going. I don't want to knock services like Dropbox, like Google+, like Facebook. I think Google+ does a decent job of private by default for auto upload. It's really nice. It's a great service. I use it all the time. Dropbox does decently well, although they have had problems in the past. They're working on them though, so I can't really knock Dropbox. They're really trying to fix it. But, you know, in these devices, when you get rid of a laptop or a phone or anything, you got to really make sure that you dispose of the data properly. You have to really make sure that, you know, it's not just a fast format or, you know, you just throw it out because, well, the laptop's broken. No one's going to get any data off of that. No, not true. I could take a screwdriver and, let me see, I might have one around. Yeah, right here. I can take a screwdriver, pull out your hard drive, and hook it up to this guy. Look at that. Fits right in. USB. Just plug it right in. I can get all of your data right off this, unless you've encrypted it or securely erased it. So be mindful when you throw stuff out. You know, there's still stuff on here. Even if the computer won't turn on, there's still sensitive data here. One of the things that did come out of the conference is that Apple's iPhone, the factory reset, when you factory reset an iPhone, it works phenomenally. It works great. It actually securely erases the device. That's really cool. That's really helpful. Now, Android devices, you know, we're still testing. We're doing a lot of testing. I'm doing a lot of research gathering on that currently, and some do and some don't. But Apple's devices, when you go to sell that old iPhone, when you go to sell the 5 to get the 6, factory reset it. It's really easy. It's really simple, and I don't know why you wouldn't do it if you were selling it anyway. But it does clear your data.
It's one of, again, it's everything you said is correct. It's one of those things. I keep on saying you sign up for a new service, always just be vigilant, or I don't want to say use a fake username, that becomes too difficult or anything like that, but you just got to be careful. I'm looking at this recent uploads on PhotoBucket, and you're right. Most of the stuff is okay, but I've come across 1 or 2 things that are not safe for work.
Yeah.
And so that is a little scary. Here's a debit card. I'm just looking. Here's pictures of kids. Different things like that, and you have to be careful. And you talked about the Internet of Things, the cameras. We always said that the cameras are connected to the Internet, and unless you've gone into the security settings, they can be wide open for anybody who wants to run, the 4 billion IP addresses?
Yeah.
So is that the next topic?
Yeah, speaking of all the public-facing IP addresses in the world, does anyone, we're going to play the home game, do you have at home a NAS, a network-attached storage, or a hard drive that has an Ethernet port that you plugged in, or some type of device that lets you access files from a hard drive, from a box in your home, on the cloud, on the internet, wherever you want? I'll admit, they're rad. I have one, and I vetted it because I built it myself. Most people don't. Most people go out and they go to a store and they buy one of these network-attached storage devices, which is a box with a couple hard drives in it, and it plugs into your router. And it says, hey, you can put movies, music, games, files, family photos, whatever, on this box, and, you know, it'll be RAID protected, so it'll be not backed up by any means, but, you know, there's less of a chance of your data just vanishing when a hard drive dies. And you can look at the pictures on your TV or your laptop or your phone or any other computer device in your network. It's great. They're fantastic. The issue is a lot of these commercial products, and I will call out one because it was called out in a talk. Asus puts out a NAS that is public on the internet by default. People can't write to it by default, but they can read and pull any file they want to by default. It uses UPnP on your router, which means you don't actually have to configure your router to talk to the internet. The box will do that automatically. And it's supposed to be this ease of use thing, like, hey, look, as long as you know your home IP address, or you put this thing into our website, then you can get access to your files from anywhere. Well, that's great. So can everyone else. And the default, totally anonymous read access. So
you don't even know who's watching.
Yeah, and you can stop it. You can go into the settings, change the usernames, change the passwords, turn off read access, turn off the cloud stuff entirely if you want to. But having this stuff turned on by default, most people don't know. Everyone here is, a normal person, or at least we know normal people. When I get a new device, I dig into the settings as far as I can go down into the menus and look at all the toggle switches. Most people don't do that. Most people say, hey, look, I bought this thing. It's an appliance. It's like a toaster, but it stores files instead of bread and makes it toast. I'm just going to plug it in, and it'll work, and I'll forget about it. And it's great.
Well, the first thing it's going to do is update, always.
Yes, yeah.
So after the hour of you're waiting for the update and forgetting your Wi-Fi password and everything else, all you want to do is all your spouse wants to do or anything else is just play with it. So you say, I'll deal with this later, and you either don't, or you deal with it to the best of your knowledge, and you miss the most important part.
Yeah. Most people don't look at the settings pages. With these devices especially, you really have to. You have to know what's going on, or risk, all of your data just being out on the open on the internet for no apparent reason. Without any real fault of your own other than plugging in a device that shouldn't have been plugged in. And it's, we can't blame the users on this side. That is insecure by default. That is the fault of the manufacturers. And they're getting better, right? We're starting to see these things. The security community has been complaining over and over again about this insecure by default business. Just starting to move in the other direction. But until then, if you buy a NAS, if you buy a network-attached hard drive, please look at the settings. Make sure you can't access it publicly from the internet without your usernames and your passwords. Because, the guy who gave the talk just did a scan, just an easy scan, looking for these devices. And he found so many of them just out there. There were a couple, and I will not name brands on this one because there were a couple with public read enabled or with default username and password read enabled. So putting in admin or admin for write access. Crazy stuff like that. Like anyone can go in and just delete your stuff or put on stuff that's not even yours. That's nuts. So check the settings page. Be careful.
And I built my own NAS, but I was actively looking for a Drobo-like device or a Netgear or Synology, and I don't know if these are one of the name brands, but you have to look for something with security. And that's what I was looking for. Something that I can access over the internet that is secure, because now if they can get compromised they're in your network.
Exactly.
And they're not on the guest network. They're on your network. Like we were talking about having maybe two different Wi-Fi hotspots, one for the guests and one for all the mission critical stuff. This is the mission critical stuff.
Yeah, this is your data. This is the stuff you would put on an NAS is the most important stuff you can think of. Financial documents, backed up paperwork, you name it. Everything goes on, on the most secure storage device in your network, or at least you think it's secure. You'd like to think it's secure.
Yeah,
so
again, you hear these stories and you want to do a facepalm because it makes just who decided that this was a good idea? Somebody decided this was a good idea. Because really, who's going to really scan those IPs? And you know what? They're going to scan those. If those people are scanning their IPs, they're probably going to get in anyway. So, and that's the absolute worst way to think.
Yeah. It's all about, and we've said it time and time again, and I want to hammer this point home, because I had to say to someone again today, it's not about this, it's not about saying I'm secure. It's not about being in this, this holy place of nothing can attack me, nothing can hurt me, this sort of Zen-like state. Security is about taking the target on your back and shrinking it as much as possible. So you look at everyone else, you look at the playing field, and the archer sitting there with the bow, and he's just like, well, I don't want to go for all the tiny targets. I'm going to hit that guy because it's giant. It's about making yourself a smaller target compared to everyone else. And I don't want to make it sound oppositional like that, but it's really the game you have to play.
I guess you have to outrun the bear, as we call it. No, you have to outrun your friend, not the bear. Because
Right.
the low-hanging fruit is going to get hacked, and they don't need that many. They need a few to give them money or to get money and to go from there.
Yeah.
I mean, when they do a password dump, they crack the first 100,000 in an hour, and then the rest take 4, 5, 6 hours. If you got 100,000, what else do you need?
Yeah.
You have the first 100,000 monkeys and passwords and apples and Joe 1, 2, 3, 4s, but you don't need more than that. I mean, obviously you're going to go for it, but if it's already a strong password, you know that they probably know what they're doing.
Yeah, you know someone's at that point, watching their account, whether it be Twitter or LinkedIn or anything. They're taking security a little bit more seriously, so it might not even be worth trying to mess with their stuff.
So we got 5 minutes. Do you have a last topic?
I do. I do have a last topic. It's one of our favorites, and honestly, we don't need to preach on it too much because there's not any new information. But over 90% of breaches, of malware breaches, hacking, all that stuff, over 90% was due to one piece of software. Just one.
We all know what it is.
For those of you playing the home game, I'm going to give you a little bit of time to guess. That's right. Java. Our favorite Java. So if you guessed Java, congratulate yourself. Give yourself the prize of uninstalling Java right now unless you know you absolutely need it. It's annoying to keep up to date. It gets patched and hacked all the time. It's not worth it. It's simply not worth it.
Wait, hold on. I mean, we're talking about mainly 90% of this discussion is mainly Java in the browser.
Yes.
If you're playing, I'm assuming that everyone's going to say, but my son, daughter, Minecraft. No, you can't do it.
Right.
I have a feeling Minecraft is. I guess if it's connected to the internet, then it's not safe. I've never played Minecraft.
Minecraft, I would, and I need to back this up with research, but my gut tells me that Minecraft, the client, the game you download on your computer that uses Java to run, will be safe. If you're playing it in Internet Explorer by going to the website and having it load up in that window inside Internet Explorer, you have to stop doing that. You have to disable Java in the browser. And you can do that in the options. You can go to add-ons and Java and say either disable, or what I do with Flash and Java and all that stuff is I just say, it's all click to run. Just ask me. Ask me if I want to run it, and if I do, I'll click on it and say go. And it'll run. And that prevents the vast majority of attacks. There's some stuff, on Java on the desktop side that's really insecure, but you're gonna make that target so much smaller if you disable it in the browser. And most modern browsers will disable by default unless you turn it back on.
I mean, look, I teach at school, and the kids are like, I want to work with the programs at home, and I go, that means you're installing Java. I'd rather you not. I'd rather give you the extra day. Because what's going to happen, you're going to go to Java, you're going to install whatever you need to do, you're going to forget the part of the ask.com toolbar, you're going to get installed in all your browsers, you're going to think you need it, and then you're going to get in trouble because you probably are not going to update it as well.
Yeah.
Nothing good comes unless you know you need it, like we all say, uninstall it, or silo it somewhere. Don't let it run in the browser. Make sure that it asks you. You'll feel better.
Yeah. And really, click to run, I think, is one of the greatest middle grounds of convenience and security I've ever seen in my career. It's like Flash videos. It's great for Flash ads. I hate Flash ads. It's so loud and annoying. But now I just get this bar on the side with a little play button that says click play for any Flash content, for any QuickTime, for any Java, any of that stuff. I have to actually click it to make it happen. And that will keep you safe.
So
safer. I can't say safe.
Yeah, again, it's just being safer. You're not going to consistently say.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're out of time. So there's our potpourri of topics for this week. We'll see you all next week.
See you guys.
Bye.